From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One more corner pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! What is up, everybody? It is Wake Up Warchant. It is presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill in Tallahassee, Florida. CPTallybar.com. That is the website. You can check out their daily specials, the social calendar, even put an order online at the website CPTallybar.com. But I'll save you a click and maybe even a scan of the QR code. The daily lunch special for Thursday, which goes down from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. and is only $8.99, is the cheesesteak sandwich. Or you can get chicken if you prefer that way. That's going on today over at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. And then tonight, bingo, Thursday night bingo, big dollars to be had. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, Tallahassee, Florida, off Appalachia Parkway. Check them out. Corey coming up here in a minute. Pretty much the entire show is the Trey Cunningham interview, but a couple news and notes to pass along before we get to that. He's in Charleston being a dad. Shout out to all the dads out there being dads. Shout out Brady Clark. Bring home some trophies, bring home some hardware. Sydney Sherrill did so. Sydney Sherrill, one of 9 inaugural Rawlings Gold Glove Award winners in softball, so she'll always be the answer to a trivia question. She was also the ACC Defensive Player of the Year, as we all know, and she gets a Gold Glove Award, one of the first ever, one of the first 9 ever, so congrats to Sydney. Over on the hardwood, John Butler, he gone. Another one and done. I think that's 3 years in a row, if I read our tweet correctly, as Butler has decided to stay inside the NBA draft cycle. Corey, I'm sure we'll talk a lot about this tomorrow on the weekend show that we will do. The weekender, rather, not like a weekend show. I'm surprised. I'm sure most of you are surprised. I'm sure he has his good reasons for going ahead and leaving Florida State. But in case you don't remember, Butler averaged about 19 minutes last season, shot 42%. We'll round it up. Nearly 40% from three. That's great. 44% from the free throw line and had 100 rebounds. So 21 offensive in 31 games that he played. Best of luck to him. I hope it works out. Maybe he's like a Chet Holmgren clone, poor man's Chet Holmgren. Maybe he's got better upside than him. Who knows? I'm sure he has his reasons for going. But, yeah, John Butler has decided to go ahead and leave Florida State, enter the NBA draft. Best of luck to him. We'll see what that means for the Noles moving forward. And then this weekend, starting on Friday, NCAA regional action for Florida State. They will be in Auburn. They will be taking on UCLA at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. local time. And on Wednesday, Mike Martin Jr. went ahead and announced that he will indeed start Parker Messick against UCLA on Friday. I think Corey is going to go ahead and first guess that one and not like it all that much. As we've chronicled on the show here the last few days, maybe last few weeks, Parker just hasn't been quite himself, and the sort of, dead arm is being thrown out there by some people. I see your comments. It's valid. But, the one common denominator in all of his struggles here lately is that these have been non-Friday night games. Some of them been Friday. This game is going to be a Friday game, but it's a day game. He hasn't done all that well in the afternoon against Miami. Struggled a bit. The Boston College game was not a fine performance. That was a Friday game, but, it's just been one of those things where it hasn't looked good against Miami, hasn't looked good in the ACC tournament. North Carolina, that was a – did he start on Thursday? No, he didn't start on Thursday. They kept him on Friday, but it was a 2 o'clock game. So no concern, though, from Meat when we asked him about that. And I was like, hey, man, he hasn't really played all that well in the afternoon. Is that your guys' decision to go ahead and say what's ever up with that? And or does he get a say-so? And he's like, no, he wants the ball. We want him to have the ball. He's going to start. So we'll see. Go out on your sword, right? You don't have the luxury of holding on to your ace when you're a 3 seed, I think is probably the conventional wisdom on that one. But we'll get Corey's take on that tomorrow. In the meantime, stay connected to Warchant.com for all the breaking news. We did a recruiting chat. Check that out over on the YouTube page as well. If you're not a member of Warchant.com, you'll just have to sit through an entire hour of it to get everything you want out of it. With that said, Trey Cunningham, this dude is incredible, man, and ladies. He is simply quite literally one of the fastest men on the planet when it comes to running over the hurdles. We'll let him talk about it. It's all coming up here. Trey Cunningham, ACC Performer of the Year, All-American, National Champion, Golden Nole, looking to add to that next weekend in Eugene, Oregon. Here it is. Enjoy, everybody. We've been doing lots of interviews here recently. You folks seem to like them. We've got a special one for you folks on the podcast today. We've got Trey Cunningham from Florida State, track and field standout. I have to write down all the accolades. All-American, ACC Men's Indoor Performer of the Year, ACC Outdoor 110-meter hurdle champion, the Golden Nole Men's MVP, and the 60-meter Indoor Hurdles National Champion, looking to add to that with the Outdoor Championships coming up this weekend over in Eugene, Oregon. Trey, that's a lot, man. Do you have to get more bookshelves, more real estate in your house to keep all these awards of yours?
I just give them to mom and dad whenever I see them, and they put them away somewhere. I don't see most of my trophies, so.
So I read in your bio that you won like 26 state championships in Alabama.
I won 24, 20 individual and 4 team titles.
What number one? I didn't know anybody could win 20 state championships, but what do you like? Seriously, where are they? Do they have a whole room? Do they have a garage? Do you rent out a U-Haul space? Where are the trophies and ribbons and medals?
So they're back in Alabama, in the basement. There's like a little shrine. So my family is very sporty. So we have mom's shrine, we have my shrine, and we have dad's.
Now, did they run track? Did your parents run track?
So most of my family just did track to like stay in shape for their sport. Mom was big on basketball. She played at Alabama actually. And then dad played football.
Okay. So I just want to know when, because I'm sure you were always one of the fastest kids in your elementary school when you were 7, 8, 9. You were dusting kids. I get it. But there's a leap to go, I want to run fast, and I want to run fast and jump over things. Who was the first person to suggest, hey, man, I know you love running track and you're really fast. Maybe you should try the hurdles. And how old were you?
I mean, a lot of people have been asking me this question, like, how did you even start track? Because not a lot of people enjoy running. I mean, I grew up with my aunt telling me stories about her running track in high school and how she enjoyed it. She ran hurdles. And then, like, my mom ran, but she ran middle distance. And basically anyone who did track, like I said, they did it to stay in shape or just did it as an auxiliary sport. I actually followed my cousin out there, which is how I got started. And I was not good at all. Y'all can probably do some digging. My hurdle times were absolute trash, but a lovely thing called puberty helped me out. But I don't know, like, I would just say it's innate. Like, I love throwing myself at solid objects at full speed.
Fair. All right.
They did take us out to the track, like in elementary school. So our elementary school sits up right next to it. And I would just jump over the hurdle. I thought it was fun to just jump over it. I don't know why. So, yeah.
So you were in elementary school then the first time, like, you actually saw a hurdle. I never saw one until I was like in high school. Okay. I tried. I'm like, oh, this looks really fun. Like, let me see if I've got some sort of hidden talent. And as soon as I hit the second one and fell, I'm just like, I tapped out. I'm like, all right, I'm good on this.
Yeah. So I was jumping, not hurdling, because they were still kind of high for me because I was in elementary school. But I mean, sports were in my family, so I was used to going to the track. I was used to going to the ball field or the basketball court. So it was just whatever for me. It just showed up.
But is it a decision to make? And again, you're talking to two people that didn't do anything really at a high level athletically. Sorry, Aslan, I shouldn't speak for you, but you can tell we weren't great athletes in high school, but you were really fast just without throwing hurdles in front of you. Like, you could run, I'm sure in high school, you could run the 100 and the 2 and compete and win. So what made you decide to focus? Like, I guess what was inside you that's like, okay, I can still do this and I can get a lot faster at the 100, but I think my future is at the hurdles. Like, who told you that? Where did you figure that out?
So I've always told people just running the 100, even though it's the most hyped thing in the Olympics and track and field, it's so boring. Like, I get down the track like 60, 70 meters and I'm like, oh, I'm still running. And like, what am I supposed to do? It's so incredibly boring when you're running it. Hurdles, it's a little fun. It's a little technical. There's stuff in the way. makes it interesting. Like someone can fall, a hurdle next to you can like brush up against yours, or you can hit somebody's arm because people get a little wild. But yeah, I think that's why I chose it. No one really like guided me to do it because I don't think anyone's just like, hey, you need to go hurdle, because like you have to want to do that. I would say,
Sure.
I mean, like you have to want to do a lot of stuff, but really you have to want to run at objects.
Do you remember the first organized race you won? I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure you were dusting kids at recess since you were able to walk, but I didn't know like the first like track meet that you went to. That you
My
won.
first one I won was probably 8th grade, maybe. Yeah, I didn't really like find my like athletic ability till freshman year of high school, and then I took off way too fast and hurt myself. But I would say 8th grade was the first time I like actually won.
And when did you think, okay, this could be my future? Not only can I get to college with this, but okay, I might have a chance to go beyond college, not just get paid, but compete on the international circuit, maybe win medals at international events. Was that junior year, senior year, when you got to Florida State? When does that start happening?
So I knew I could go to college for it like freshman, sophomore year of high school. Like I was running some pretty fast times for that age. And then progressing on like to junior and senior year of high school, I was like, oh, I can actually do this for a living, because I set a world junior record my senior year. I would have set another one if I didn't get hurt for outdoors. And I mean, like the times I was running, like it wasn't just barely breaking the record. It was by like a whole 10th, which is half a hurdle. So it was insane what I was doing at the time. And then like I got to college and I was like, oh, I still enjoy it. So I'm going to pursue this as far as possible.
Trey, so you're from Winfield, Alabama. I mean, you're closer to the Mississippi border than you are Tuscaloosa. How do you end up in Tallahassee? How does the recruiting go for a track standout who finished second place, I guess, as well, when it came to securing your talents in college?
Okay, so y'all probably cover recruiting for football and stuff like now, right? So I say I grew up still in like the nice era of recruiting. We still got letters. People called us. We couldn't text. We couldn't DM. The only social media we could use was Facebook, and that was like unheard of. So I was recruited by pretty much every school in the country. So track doesn't necessarily have as many scholarships or positions like the ball sports do. So it's not like basketball where you have a scholarship per person. It's more so you have 12 and a half scholarships for a football-sized team.
Right.
So some schools didn't recruit me because they didn't have money, or I didn't fit their team like build out. Like they just didn't do hurdles, stuff like that. So I got the opportunity to basically pick any place in the country though. So that was a fun time. Mom got to do the same thing with her recruitment, so she understood and just gave me a few tips, and her and Dad just let me do the decision myself. So I narrowed it down to like 4 schools, and they were all conveniently with bald-headed coaches and the color red.
Okay, nice.
So we'll go in the order of the visits. So I went to Alabama first. I had to appease Mom because that's where she played basketball. And then I went to Florida State for my visit. And then I was supposed to go to South Carolina, but it got canceled because of a hurricane.
Oh, that's an omen.
It was. Yeah. So I took the next visit to Stanford and then did a makeup visit to South Carolina. So I grew up Alabama, Auburn, like through and through. So it was very odd for me to choose an ACC school.
Sure.
I just picked Florida State because I thought I could see myself here without track. Like every other place I went to or thought about going to, track was like in the equation, like number one. Right. So that's why I picked Florida State, really. They have a really good track history that helped too, and I liked the coach at the time. So that led me to be here for 5 years now.
I was going to say, you've been here for a while. And you've been really good for a while. Now, this last year, you've taken it to a whole new historical level. But did you come close to leaving after last year? Was there any thought to turning pro, or because it wasn't an Olympic year or a world championship year, there wasn't a need for it? What's the rationale for a track star that can go pro but comes back to school?
Yeah, there was a thought. COVID took a lot of money from professional track and field at that time. So track really doesn't have a team per se. So like, I'm not running for team Nike or team Adidas. I'm running for myself, and I'm getting paid by Adidas to run. So we're all paid out of the marketing budget, and that's the first thing to go when budget cuts happen. So there wasn't really much money for me to leave, and especially for the times that I had ran that year, they weren't money worthy for the money we're talking about now. So also within my 5 years of being here, along with the recruiting changes, the track and field standard has gone up exponentially. Like, they expect you to be the top 10 ever to make any sort of money.
Okay, gotcha.
You have to be number one in the world by like weeks at a time to make any money. So once you get your foot in the door, it's kind of a little bit easier, but you still have to maintain that cutthroat expectation. So
with that in mind, I assume it worked out, it's benefited you coming back for this extra year. Like, I know you've got some team goals and some individual goals still left to accomplish, but what you've done this season, and we'll get to it in a second, that has to make you much more marketable, and it's going to actually pay off quite handsomely, I would imagine, in the coming months or the coming year.
Yeah, definitely.
I know you're not maybe thinking about that, or maybe you are, man. You're a human being. You probably are thinking about that.
Yeah, it definitely will. Like, the season I'm putting together is one for the books for sure. Like, I have to keep reminding myself, like, what I'm doing is pretty awesome. Because like, I am who I am. Like, I want to do better and like expect myself to do better. So I have to look at like the World Athletics website and look at everybody's years, like when they went fast, and see what they were doing. Like, and it's lining up to be the same way. So It's pretty cool.
Trey, walk us through this then. I mean, walk us through May 27th, Friday. You wake up, Bloomington, Indiana, highs in the 60s, lows in the 50s. It's raining. You're trying to get a good time so you can qualify for nationals. Did you wake up feeling good? I mean, can you feel good in that kind of weather? Did just looking at the clock let you know what you had just accomplished? Or did you kind of already know even before you saw that clock? And just to remind everybody, your time was the 6th fastest human in world history, running the 110-meter hurdles in a headwind, 13.07. Walk us through, I guess, that morning, that race, and the aftermath afterwards, the good aftermath.
So I like racing because I don't like practice. Practice is much harder than my races. I run for 13 seconds and I go sit my happy butt down.
Okay, sure.
So I felt really good that day. I woke up, I was like, I'm ready to run. People ask me all the time, do I get nervous anymore? I don't really. I get more anxious, like I'm ready to run, like just shoot the gun already. So I felt like I was really excited to run that day. I was feeling good despite the rain, the wet track, and it being cold, and then the headwind. So I was just feeling good. I was in the rhythm, feeling myself, ready to go. And then that happened. Like, I hit my start well, and I was like, all right, let's go. Next hurdle was like, all right, that's good. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Lean. And then I looked up at the clock and I was like, all right, 13:07. We've been chasing 13:0 this year. Gonna keep going faster. But then I saw the wind, and that's when I lost it. Because the wind helps a lot. Like, you don't realize. So they have a conversion factor, like on trackandfield.com, I don't know. And it's pretty accurate. I'd say it's off by like 2 or 3 hundredths at most. They converted my time, like if you just reverse the wind. So I had a tailwind of 1.5. It would have been 12:91, which would have crushed the collegiate record.
Yeah, and it would have been one of the 2 or 3 fastest of all time.
I think I would have moved up to 8th fastest ever.
I mean, so I guess you say you don't like practicing, but you must practice a ton. This isn't just something, I know you're innately very athletic. There's only a few humans in the world that have the potential to do what you've been doing, but you have to bust your ass. Like this isn't like, and that goes like, I assume it's 24 hours a day. You can't go out and eat 2 pizzas. You can't go eat ice cream. You can't go drink beer all the time. Like you have to take care of your body 365, right? And how often do you practice?
So we lift about 3 days a week when we're not competing that week. And then on weeks of competition, we lift twice a week. So we lift heavy and we lift fast. So it's always A to B as fast as possible. And then like tomorrow, actually, I have a pin squat. So we're just doing the impulse up. It's going to probably be 560 pounds.
Okay.
What?
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that what you do, Aslan? Are you close to that?
Absolutely not. You have 565 on the bar, Trey?
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
I mean, he does have strong legs probably to run really fast and jump over hurdles.
I know, but that's like 6 plates. That's powerlifter stuff. Carry on. Go on. Jeez.
So the weight room is really important for us. It works. It keeps the nervous system firing, and it keeps me really poppy so I can get off the ground and stuff. Track-wise, it's usually 2 to 3 times a week, depending on competition schedule and travel. We don't practice as much as most people, like running-wise, but when we do, it's with a lot of intention, and it's super fast.
When you say super fast, are you talking like it's just a 20-minute workout? It's a 30-minute workout? Or you're running super fast the whole time?
Running super fast.
Okay. How long are you out there? Like
Depends.
You can't go crazy. You can't run 9 races in a day. Like, so what is it? Just 30 minutes you're running, or how does that work?
So I would say my total practice, that's warm up, the actual practice, and then like hanging out a little bit is like an hour and a half to 2 hours at most.
Okay.
And
All
it's
right.
like a 30-minute warm up. So the workout's 45 minutes maybe.
Okay. All right.
Depending on the hurdles or if it's just straight running. So hurdle practice takes a little bit longer just because that's my bread and butter and I'm like a geek about it. I'm like, my foot was off like 2 degrees or whatever. So yeah.
Okay.
That's practice.
Trey, I know some of these sports, for sometimes it makes guys and ladies feel like the loneliest person on the planet. Like, I mean, you're just kind of alone out there with your thoughts competing. Do you embrace, like, I know you said you don't like to practice, but this sport where you're at, it's like F1 racing where it's all about the margins. I mean, it is the smallest sliver of a movement of
Have you seen his races? Those aren't small margins. Those kids are barely out of the blocks, and he's celebrating his time.
Yeah, how do you go about finding it, though? I mean, all these other sports are games of inches. I mean, I guess, running a hurdle is at a certain perspective, but I mean, are you chasing hundredths, tenths of a second? How do you do that? And is that what keeps you motivated day in and day out?
So I just try to be better than I was the day before. If that means I'm figuring
1%
out
better? 1% better, Trey? Are you trying to do the 1% better thing?
Yeah. I mean, we're dealing with hundredths of a second, like, and moving up the list of all time. Like, I finished indoor, I think, 5th or 6th fastest in world history, like, ever. So
not college history, world history, right?
Yeah, world history.
Yeah. That's crazy. Go ahead, keep going.
Just little things like I said, like your foot angle going up. Was your knee dropped? Like, it's just the tiny stuff. Like, am I taking off a foot further than I'm supposed to? Or it's just the little stuff like that, because I mean, like you said, it's kind of alienating a little bit because we're in our lane and that's it. Like, nothing affects our lane except ourselves. So it's just figuring out how to be better than you were the day before and making it very consistent so you can put yourself in position to win.
When you won indoor, that was your first individual college national championship, right? And I know that the reaction you had said as much. Did you feel pressure though? I mean, you'd had such a storied career already, and I know the 1 year was taken away, which I'm sure you felt very good about your 2020. But did you feel some pressure going into that race? Like, it is time for me to do this. It's time for me to win this. Or are you more worried about the number you're running?
So that race, I felt more pressure about the number I was running because everyone was like, "Oh, you're going to break the collegiate record." Like it's right there. I knew I could win. Like no one was near me like the entire year. But at the same time, it was relieving to like finally win it. I tell people I grew up in probably the best hurdle era in college history. Like it would take the American record to win that race when we were all there. Like it was insane. So I was more chasing for the time for that race, and then probably same thing for outdoors. Like there's more pressure to break the record instead of win, because people are always like, "Oh, he's already got in the bag. How fast is he gonna run?"
Well, there's some pressure that comes with that too now, right? Yeah. Oh, he's won it. Like those are pretty heavy expectations before you even step foot in Eugene.
They're not as big as they were when I first came to college. So I came in with that world junior record, and people were expecting me just to like blow it out the water, like first race. And I was going to be like a one and done kid in basketball. So I think that pressure weighed on me a lot, but now I'm just like, it's fine. I can do my own thing. It's going to happen when it happens.
And now you're a 5 and done.
Yeah, we're 5 and done now.
Yeah, there you go.
We got a piece of paper that says I'm educated too.
Perfect.
Trey, I'm sure you're very, last question for me. You're very familiar that, people really tune in to see track once every 4 years when the Olympics roll around. I mean, do we think about Paris 2024? Is that a legitimate, I'm sure it's a goal of yours, but is that a legitimate sort of prospect for you if things kind of keep trending the way you've been racing here recently?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's 2 years away. So that's like a blink of an eye, really. Like I didn't think World Championships were going to be here, and now they're here in a month. So it's definitely in the bag. I hope I'm still running for LA in 28. And then after that, we'll see how long I run, because that'll be probably year 8 of professional career.
Right.
So maybe I'll still be kicking at 35.
Is that when it comes to track though? I know this always changes. It's always fluctuates and it's fluid, but is the peak athletically, is it usually mid to late 20s? Can it go into the mid 30s? I know Usain Bolt ran, but that guy's a whole different anomaly. Is it usually like to early 30s is when you kind of go out of your peak? Is that how it's normally worked with track and normally worked with hurdlers?
Yeah. So I remember looking at this little data table that the Olympics put out, or someone put out. They put out the average age of Olympians per event. Hurdles was the oldest.
Oh, all right.
By 2 years.
Wow.
They were 27.3, I think, and then everyone else was around 24 or 25.
I wonder why that is, because you have to be more of a technician.
Technical. Yeah, it's technical.
Okay.
So hurdlers last a little bit longer too, just simply because you don't have to do as many reps to hurdle. Because it's like riding a bike. Like the more you've done it, it's easier to get back to it. Unlike the sprints, it's just raw speed, which is why Usain Bolt retired at like 29 or 30. Like he was done.
Okay, right.
And even his last attempt, like he wasn't his best. So the hurlers last a little while. So hopefully I'm still doing it.
And I wanted to ask you one last question, especially this year in these meets you're running. How do the other participants treat you? I mean, are they nice to you? Are they standoffish? Do they not like you because all they see is asses and elbows the whole time? Like, how do they treat you? Or are they kind of I don't know, cool with you because they appreciate how good you are?
So it depends on the person.
Sure.
Some people think they're the hottest thing on the track, and some people think I'm the hottest thing on the track, and I'm like, y'all need to like chill out. I just ran. Like it's not that big of a deal. And then some people get really upset when they like lose to me or something because they thought they were gonna win. And then most of the time people are just cool. Like it's like good race. That was pretty cool. Or they'll hit me up on like social media or something and say like, this is awesome. So track's not too standoffish. I feel like the hurdling community is pretty relaxed.
Okay, all right.
Like even like the professional races I've been in, everyone's just like kind of mellow, I would say. Like, no one's on super edge. Like, we're talking about, hey, do you want to play Call of Duty, like, when we get done, or, like, stuff like that. So
Gotcha. So is the goal out in Eugene, and that's next weekend, correct? You've got, 8 days until you're running. Is the goal, obviously you want to win. The team is third in the country, so they have a real shot. You guys have a real shot as a team to do a lot of damage. Is it to break 13? Is that what you're hoping for? Is that like, hey, calm down, let's just win the race?
First goal is win the race.
Sure.
Second goal is to break the collegiate record.
And what is that?
1298.
Okay. Have you written that on your wall somewhere? Do you have it? I know that's memorized, but I didn't know if you were one of those kids that visualized it and put it on your bathroom mirror or something.
No, I haven't written it down. I just know 1298, and if 1297.4 blast up on the wall when we're done, I'm here for it.
Okay.
But if it happens in the preliminary round, great. If it happens in the final, great. If it happens in both, that's even better.
Or at the World Championships.
Yeah, I'll take it there too.
Sure.
He's all confident. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Trey.
That usually wins the World Championship.
Yeah, and you'll be there for that. You wouldn't mind that, sure. Where is that this year, by the way?
Going back to Oregon.
Oh man, come on.
I'm basically going to be in Oregon for a month. We'll have NCAAs next week, and then U.S. Championships at the end of the month, and then World Championships end of July.
And it's all in Oregon, so you will just be out there? You're going to stay in Oregon for a month?
No, I will be coming back to my bed.
Okay. All right, gotcha. Fair. All right.
He's all conference. He's an All-American. He's a national champion. He's looking to go twice on that last one. Also a distinction, our first multiple Zaxby's Indescribably Good Player of the Week. They only need to do a Zaxby's Indescribably Good Player of the Year.
He won that like 3 times. And was Aslan right, Trey, before we let you go? Was that the fastest time anyone's ever run into a headwind? Was that correct? I saw that on Twitter. Is that true?
It's 6th fastest, and then it's the fastest ever, like, at that headwind. So,
with that amount of headwind. Nobody's ever run faster than that in a headwind like that.
No. So everyone else who's ran faster in a headwind has been like a 0.2. Mine was a 1.5.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So theirs was a slight breeze.
Flipping Indiana, man. If you want to run anywhere else in the world, I had to be in Indiana.
Got the job done.
That's right.
Trey, best of luck, man. Thanks for taking out the time. Let's catch up soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trey.
Warchant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. Warchant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WARCHANT30. That's WARCHANT30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WARCHANT30. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.